You're watching Ramping Up Your English, a fun and less stressful way for intermediate English learners to get a better handle on learning English. This is segment 3 of episode 60. This episode is all about life cycles, and we're taking a look at insects and their unusual life cycle. Now think of the last video. Could you imagine if your children underwent such drastic changes in appearance at different stages of their life? Taking a worm to a baseball game would be downright weird, and taking one fishing would be outright dangerous. Now, some insects are pests. Mosquitoes, horseflies, yellow jackets, and gnats all come to mind. Nonetheless, there are many insects that we depend on for our own survival. Those that pollinate the plants we consume for food definitely qualify for that. Now, the work of pollinators has often been ignored by people, but as they start to suffer reductions in their populations, that ignorance has become dangerous. Farmers, conservation groups, and even President Obama have encouraged people to provide for the habitat needs of pollinating insects. These include bees. If people plant the right vegetation, these pollinators have a greater chance of survival and of reproducing the next generation of pollinators. Now, many of these bees are natives to the areas where they live, but much of their habitat has been lost to development and agriculture. Another problem is seen in the non-native vegetation that keeps them active, seeking nourishment, but doesn't supply enough of it to energize their life systems. So posters like these encourage people to plant the types of vegetation that will keep these pollinators alive and help them flourish. Now, bees are the most active pollinators. They are drawn to flowers by the sweet nectar. In seeking the nectar, bees end up wearing the flower's pollen, and when they visit the next flower, some of that pollen rubs off, allowing the plant to pollinate and continue its own life cycle. Honeybees are domesticated bees from Europe. They pollinate a great number of crops in the United States. Beekeepers tend their hives where they can harvest the honey that the bees store. The honey is very nutritious, both for the emerging bees and for people. Bees fill each cell with honey and seal each one with wax that they secrete from their bodies. Each hive has one queen bee, the one that lays thousands of eggs. Now, while honey is harvested for people, beekeepers always leave enough honey for the next generation to begin their life cycle again. Honeybees are needed for pollinating crops, so much that some farmers pay beekeepers to transport hives to their fields. Some colonies of honeybees have tragically collapsed. There are tiny mites that are parasites, sucking the life out of the bee's body. There's also the role of pesticides. They contain neurotoxins that can weaken or kill bees. Then there's the disappearance of food sources in their habitat, thus the efforts of planting native vegetation, as we saw earlier. Now, speaking of life cycle, perhaps the most astonishing life cycle is that of another pollinator and favorite insect of many people, the butterfly. We'll get to witness the miracle of butterfly metamorphosis and learn more about these colorful and amazing invertebrates in our next episode. I would love to know if Ramping Up Your English is helping you in your quest for higher English proficiency. You can get in touch with me, send an email to letscreatepro@gmail.com, or visit my website at letscreate.org for all the support materials for this episode. Just navigate to the episode 60 page. You can watch and even download all episodes of Ramping Up Your English at archive.org/details/roguetv. Use the search box by entering Ramping Up Your English. You'll find all the episodes there. Ramping Up Your English is seen in Ashland on channel 15 and 115 and others in the Ashland Home Network, and in the rest of Southern Oregon on Charter Cable channel 182. Showtimes are 8 o'clock a.m. on Mondays and 7:30 on Thursdays. Showtimes will vary in other areas. Check your local access, public access, and education stations. I want to thank my director, Denise Ross, and my talented and loyal crew, and I want to thank you, our viewers. All of you help make this program an award winner. Join us next time for Ramping Up Your English. I'm John Letts.
You've been watching Ramping Up Your English, a support program for intermediate level English language learners. Learn more. Visit our website at letscreate.org. You can also watch or download today's program at archive.org/details/roadtv. Join us next time on RBTV Voices for Ramping Up Your English.